Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tenuity's 2024 Playbook for Q4 and Holiday Success. This is day 2 of our event, so thank you to those of you who joined us last week. And for those of you who didn't, you definitely missed out, but fortunately, the session recording and slides were shared to your inbox after the session. If you were registered at that point, if you weren't, all of the session recordings will be sent out this Friday, so you won't miss anything. This event is designed to equip you with strategies and insights you need to maximize your data and budget as we approach the critical Q4 and holiday season. So we're going to cover key trends, innovative measurement approaches, new tactics for reaching the next generation of consumers, and much, much more. So to kick off today, we are going to dive into a session on breaking the mold, pushing marketing boundaries with next-gen strategies. We're super excited to dive in, but first let's take a look at what's ahead today. So after this session, we've got 2 more lined up. We'll take a short break in between. Then we will jump into powerful search to sale strategies. Finally, we'll explore AI tactics designed to help you work smarter, not harder. Plus, we've got some exciting prize giveaways today, so you'll need to stick around live for your chance to win. There's a lot of valuable content ahead, so please stay with us throughout all of the sessions. Let's talk logistics really quickly. So session recording and slides will be sent out by Friday. Feel free to go back and watch those or share them with your colleagues. Also, if you log off at any time within the next couple of hours, you can use the same link that is in your calendar hold in your inbox to hop back on. You can also download some of our recently released reports. We've got a benchmark report in the handouts tab in the right. We also have key takeaways from both day 1 and day 2 in there. And then in the chat, please let us know where you're tuning in from. Looks like we have everyone from India to Louisiana to New Jersey. So thank you all for being with us today. You can also submit questions in the chat. So we'll aim to answer those at the end during our live Q&A after each session. And I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Catherine Bishop, Marketing Webinar Specialist, and I will be your host today. So a little bit about Tenuity. We are the largest independent full funnel performance marketing agency in the US. Our patent tech BlissPoint by Tenuity measures what marketers previously struggled to measure, offering clarity in today's marketing landscape with expertise in commerce, search, social, TV, and more. Tenuity drives measurable business outcomes for brands. So before I kick it over to the others on the screen, we want to hear from our audience. So as Q4 and holiday are approaching, what is your favorite way to get in the holiday spirit? So to access that poll, refer to the right-hand side of your screen, and you can click on polls that's right next to chat. I know that binge watching holiday movies is my favorite thing. Looks like most people are saying finding the perfect gifts. So that's awesome. Really love hearing from our audience. Appreciate everybody participating in that. So without further ado, we've got a great lineup of speakers with us today. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to them so that they can introduce themselves.
Thanks, Catherine. Hi, all. I'm Brian Binder. I'm a senior director here at Tenuity on the innovation and growth team. I specialize in TV, audio, display, and YouTube. I've been at Tenuity going on 7 years now. I've been in the industry for about 17. So I've seen a lot of things change over the years.
And hey everyone, I'm Lindsay Jarrah-Waltz. I am a senior director here at Tenuity. Been here almost 4 years now with over a decade of experience, expertise in programmatic and digital media. I currently oversee strategy and executions for all things TV, audio, display, which also includes YouTube and out of home as well. I currently support our enterprise CPG clients, but over the years have touched a very wide range of brand and product verticals. So excited to be here today. Passing over to Kara.
Thank you, Lindsay. And hello, everyone. My name is Kara Maynard, and I am a paid social strategist here at Tenuity, and I've been at the company for just about 3 years. I'm responsible for leading the social strategy and execution for some of our enterprise CPG clients, with my expertise ranging across industries, including sports, entertainment, beauty, and commerce. I really love this industry because it's always evolving and presenting new opportunities and innovations every day, which has really allowed me to continue to expand my skill set, with the most relevant for our conversations today being TikTok shops.
Cool. And I really like the poll question that we had to kick things off. I personally don't really like decorating their house in the holidays, but I think for me, it's really about binge watching holiday movies. I really like to lean into Elf, Die Hard. I like to have like that broad spectrum, but it's really interesting because I think the question really tees up the main element here, which is, our user behaviors change throughout the year. So like as we're moving into Q4, it's really important to think about what's actually changing and what's going to end up happening in Q4, but not even just Q4 and like the holiday season, but what's going to happen in Q4 2025 and beyond. And as you all know, coming out of COVID, the landscape has actually changed substantially, and it just continues to change rapidly each and every day. So it's really making sure that we're staying close to trends that we see from this evolving media landscape and understanding where are users actually engaging with either themselves, their friends, their families, with the different media. New opportunities are popping up with the new platforms, new technologies, and really trying to understand how can we engage with those users as things continue to change and evolve. And probably the number one thing that is on people's minds this year, and probably will be for next year as well, is just this whole conversation on privacy and the privacy evolution. The recent news about Google and the third-party cookie deprecation being pushed back, that being a little bit unknown, and being able to have some sort of future-proof measurement that's able to tie back to all these different things that we're going to talk about today in terms of understanding trends, and where we can really start to lean in and just be able to measure that across the board, really brings us to making sure that we have a very agile foundation. And that's really what we want to make sure that we're testing, evolving, and making sure that we have a very agile foundation that allows us to be dynamic. And when things change in the ecosystem, we could see where we need to lean in a little bit more.
Yeah, awesome. And really to be agile, it requires brands to stay on top of trends and market conditions, right? So understand who the consumer is and what are they doing, and how are these things changing over time. So we look here at three sort of pillars here that can help you be agile in your media mix strategy. If brands can understand where their customers are and also what interests them, they can tailor a plan to reach them online or out in the physical world. So in the world we live in today, all three of these can and do very much overlap. Taking the first one here. So thinking about entertainment as a pillar of agility. This means thinking about how and where you can have a fun moment with your customers, meeting them where they are, right? And a little bit of play in addition to work. And ongoing research promotes agile advertising in that you're using insights both quantitatively and qualitatively for audience buy-in during their customer journey. Social as a component of agility means here being aware of conversations that are happening that are important to your user base, but also allows you to be mindful of how social trends give you that insertion opportunity. How can you be relevant, but also build trust, things that are very top of mind. So understanding how and where your brand can fit in a particular narrative, whether or not you're supporting that and showing up in social capacity.
And one of the pieces that Lindsay really just touched on was that first element, which is the entertainment. And we've obviously been seeing a lot of the things change within the TV landscape. And as we move into like the streaming wars, the one thing I thought was always very interesting that we've been seeing is the YouTube main platform, not YouTube TV, is actually the #1 streaming platform and has been for almost a year and a half now, according to Nielsen Gauge. So it's really important that when we start thinking about where our consumers and where our audience is really engaging and like really going for their entertainment from a TV perspective, we have to make sure that we're thinking about the entire ecosystem and how users are bouncing between all these different platforms and where they're really engaging with the different types of content. Me, for example, I'm probably not too atypical. I lean definitely more into like the YouTube and Netflix and chill type of audience. So if somebody's going after me, those are probably the two platforms to really like lean into somebody like myself.
And now to go into a few social trends. Like Lindsay and Brian said, consumer trends are constantly changing, and a new trend that's emerging in the social world and overall impacting other media as well is that searching on social platforms is becoming more and more popular, especially for that younger demo. An overall theme that you'll see in this chart is that the younger Gen Z demo is often looking at video content for research, while millennials are looking at the more traditional search engines like Google and Amazon. I know for one that I am a part of this as I really like to use TikTok to do my research. For instance, when I'm going on a trip or looking for restaurants and things to do, I know I can get an honest, unbiased result and review very easily while being also able to visualize alongside that review. And TikTok also has a newer strategic approach that targets individuals who are actively searching for specific trends, ensuring that your ads are reaching a more engaged and interested audience. And with this, advertisers can really hop in these conversations as well, targeting these search trends and creating educational content for users to visualize so their brands and products stay top of mind when users are searching. This is especially great to hop on with holiday just around the corner, whether that be talking about a gift, a tradition, decorations, or other holiday content. And the social search is really also helping to fuel the social commerce growth. With Gen Z preferences, they're really reshaping how social platforms are used with search and also commerce. They're already more likely than older generations to buy through social media. So as the younger groups are making up more and more of the total social user base, they will break that ceiling for social buying. And it's getting harder and harder to convert those non-buyer social users into buyers. So we'll need to continue to focus on those that are already buying on social platforms. TikTok Shop is a great tactic to utilize that will bring in the Gen Z shoppers, but a lot of the sales growth will also come from increased spending amongst our current buyers already, with estimated revenue to grow to $145 billion. So there are a ton of opportunities of ways to expand in this area, especially with the newer innovations arising. And as I mentioned, the importance of video content, I'll specifically dive into the influencer and user-generated content that is very apparent on TikTok and also other platforms like YouTube and IG Reels. TikTok specifically is an entertainment people-first platform that in turn focuses on influencer content, showing real people's lives and experiences through the content that they post online. Because of this, in order to feel native to these platforms, it's important to focus on this user-generated content in your page strategy. And it may also be different than what you would post on another platform and what would perform well on other platforms. This content is more casual, less commercial-like, and there's a lot of room to show personality. And there's always things trending, whether that be a song, a concept, a sound. It's a fun way to create content and to have engaging content on the app. So a few examples on the slide here. There's a luggage company, Away, played into the mob wives trend by showing how many fur coats can fit in their suitcase. That played into the trend well, while also catering to their product and brand. And then there's also a few other examples of beauty brands, Elf and Milani, hopping on trending sounds while also aligning their products and having fun with it. If creating assets is a pain point, TikTok has a few great opportunities that can help create content to utilize, such as creator exchange, marketplace, and creator packages. And working with an agency, there's also benefits there, while Tenuity has a dedicated team to maintaining a relationship with TikTok and learning all about the latest offerings.
Cool. And jumping into some out-of-home lighting. So out-of-home is definitely having its moment right now as it becomes more and more accessible and easier to incorporate in your media mix. And for example, if you're already running a digital programmatic campaign in a demand-side platform, it's become easier to now include digital at home as a tactic in your already existing plan. So also, like Kara just mentioned, if creative production is something that you tend to find more limited need. If you have display assets that you're already using digitally, something like repurposing them and resizing them accordingly can allow for quick digital out-of-home access, to use digital out-of-home as an amplification method to your media mix. Showing up where your message can go beyond personal user devices in a wide reach manner. It also allows brands to be memorable too, something that's very important leading into holiday season. Especially as advertisers are chasing brand awareness goals, the increase that we're seeing here with out-of-home ad spend makes total sense. So if efficient reach is important to your strategy, advancements in this space can allow for out-of-home to be a great fit when you're thinking about how to action on some of these opportunities heading into the holiday season. We're really excited about the out-of-home space right now, where it's heading. And as you can see here, it's growing full stead. So looking forward to discussing here next how we can action on some of these things.
Yeah, and we just covered some very quick trends that we've been seeing. There's obviously a lot more as well. But as we start thinking about like, okay, like what do we do with some of these trends and like how can we turn them into action? Well, we'll talk about that now. So the next thing that we're really going to think about is just like the full power of YouTube. I think Amanda, you even called it out in the chat where it's, you'd love to go to TikTok and to YouTube for searching, which is a really interesting component. But it's also thinking about like, what does YouTube actually do and how do people lean into it? Like, for example, YouTube is a streaming platform. It's an audio platform. It's a platform for creators and to share knowledge. So it really is like different things to different people at different times. And the key for brands and for advertisers is really lean into that full power of YouTube. So we talked about YouTube being the #1 streaming platform. Lean into that TV screen. We're starting to see a lot more impressions show up for our campaigns that are across all devices. So making sure that we have a message that resonates to the user when they're in the sit back mode and they're watching YouTube on their TV screen and engaging with those consumers. And then also take advantage of a lot of the shoppable trends that YouTube is continuing to roll out. There's definitely an increase in QR code usage on the TV screen as well. So we're going to continue to see that ramp up as well. But then also including your merchant center feed into your YouTube ads and just making that path to purchase a little bit easier, more streamlined for some of the consumers. When they're seeing an ad before their intended video, they also see different sets of product and customize the products for those different videos to help alleviate some of the roadblocks within that consumer journey. So continue to lean into the shoppable elements. It's going to be really impactful. We're going to probably see a lot more products rolled out from Google and YouTube to increase the shoppable trends. And then the core of YouTube is the creators. We hear it all the time. A lot of people are actually leaning more into creators and using that as their main entertainment source. So partnering up with creators and letting them be ambassadors for the brand and helping tell your story is really going to be important and impactful. And again, as Google continues to roll out additional shopping features, the affiliate program within YouTube is definitely another component that's really great where the creators could go and work with brands and actually sell products on their specific channel. So you're also tapping into a lot of their audience as well. So it really becomes this holistic approach to having your brand be pushed out by creators when people are there looking for information about the brand and on their user journey. And last but not least is think about your YouTube channel as well. It's great to have the creators help tell your story, but make sure that you're also adding content onto your YouTube channel and you're helping tell the story from your point of view. A lot of consumers, as they go to YouTube and to TikTok to help aid in their conversion journey, want to hear from not just creators, but also want to hear about from the brands and what makes the product unique, what makes the brand unique. So making sure that we leverage the full power of YouTube is going to be really important for getting the most out of the platform and engaging with the consumers.
And like Brian said, now we have a bunch of these trends and how do we put them in place? So as I mentioned, there's a lot of growth with social commerce and TikTok Shop being a driver amongst those younger demos. So what is TikTok Shops? It's completely personalized where sellers connect with creators and communities to drive meaningful shopping experiences. This is powered by TikTok's search engine, and TikTok Shops enable brands and creators to showcase and sell products directly on TikTok through in-app shopping. And this creates a seamless experience from product discovery all the way through the purchase process without ever having to leave the app. So while this launched last year, it's becoming increasingly more popular and continuing to launch new offerings, whether that be a new ad unit or targeting or creative capabilities. And this will continue to evolve with learnings from our current advertisers and continue to be a big part of social commerce, particularly with that younger demo.
All right. And so out of home can be an amplification tactic itself here, or used for media channel messaging, but it can also be a content generator to be amplified on social and creator platforms here. So looking into how we can be versatile and agile using out of home. Perhaps there is documentation that you can gather of a unique experiential out of home activation that can be used really creatively outside of the units themselves, perhaps by showing users on social, hey, we did this. Did you see this? Like in case you missed it, look how cool it was. So out of home really gives this opportunity here for to be unique, creative, and be seen and heard here. So there's options for audio enhancements that have come up for home units recently with music and sound, animated formats, use of video creative, and take, for example, this bus shelter takeover that's shown here. You can be 4D with your messaging. You can have a pop-up inflatable extension that shows on the top, highlighting your product and how it can be used in a really fun way. Some units even now offer the ability to have a scent distributed if smell is something that resonates with the product you're selling, or music that you can put in these situations to have a really enjoyable experience for your customers. So it's important when you're thinking of out of home to go outside the box a bit. Don't be afraid to be creative, and how not only out of home can amplify your digital strategy, but how then you can use it to be a content generator and sit across. So one example of this too is, speaking of social integrations in TikTok, there's a TikTok out of phone offering, one of the many creative examples here shown as well. And what is TikTok out of phone, you may ask? Well, it's an out of home solution that lets brands leverage TikTok content beyond the platform, bringing it to the real world through screens, billboards, kiosks, in cinema, restaurants, automobiles, airports, gas stations. Really, the sky's the limit there. Anywhere you can show up, you're able to amplify it and highlight your content. On top of this, on top of being seen and heard and being there in a creative way, it's important if you're seeking retail partnership expansion, thinking about out of home for incorporation of retailer tie-ins. This could be as simple as geographically surrounding where your product's sold and really honing in there, or using creative to tell shoppers where to find your product and really leaning into convenience factors there too. You can look to things like pre and post analysis to see sales impacts, and where, depending on your retailer strategy and what's important to you, there's a lot of tie-ins that should be considered from an out-of-home perspective. And test and learn. You won't know until you try it, right? So promoting strategic risks in order to gain learnings is important here, especially going to holiday season. So it'll take you further in knowing where you might be able to get a leg up to craft not only the type of moment you can have, but where that moment can be had, where it should take place, where you should, encourage a little bit of the strategic risk. And like I was mentioning before, analysis that you could take to understand the sales impact you're having. So going even beyond brand awareness goals, thinking about sales impact as well. But above all here, just some important pillars to think of, and just, don't be afraid to go outside the banner and go outside the billboard.
And Lindsay really hit on it with that last piece. She talked a little bit about the test and learn from an out-of-home standpoint, but really this kind of sums up everything that we talked about today and a lot of things that we didn't even talk about today. So it's really making sure you have a best-in-class measurement process for trying to understand what is the actual business impact. And we really like to lean into incrementality experiments and really understanding what is like the true incrementality and the business impact that we're seeing from any of these different things that we're doing, or these different hypotheses that we're looking to test out. So leaning into those on a always-on basis is going to be paramount for us to really understand what are those different levers that we're pulling that's helping drive business impact. And then feeding that into a rapid medium mix model is going to be that overarching approach to be able to say, okay, we are looking at these incrementality experiments, and how does this actually feeding into the overarching media strategy that we have on that we have rolled out into market, and then what kind of optimizations do we need to make sure that we're being the most impactful with our budget that we can.
I know it's only August and we're already speaking about holiday, but it will truly be here before we know it. So we just wanted to leave you with a few trends and takeaways that will be relevant for this year. TikTok and a few other sources recently released their holiday playbook for 2024 with some interesting findings from last year. So first being that users are shopping earlier and earlier every year. Looking at a Google survey, more than half of Americans are actually looking for holiday gift inspiration by October. And users are always looking for deals and always willing to start holiday shopping if they find the right product at the right price point. So start early and hit your users with your ads before that typical Black Friday and Cyber Monday timeframe, where it's usually more costly to run media. Another emerging trend is the rise of self-gifting. When it comes to holidays, users aren't just shopping for themselves or just shopping for their friends and families. They're also thinking about what they've been wanting to purchase for themselves and waiting for those holiday deals to come out. So this is a lever that can be pulled in advertisers' messagings and creatives, speaking not only to buying gifts for others, but also for themselves. And lastly, I know this won't surprise anyone, but creators' influence is continuing to be extremely apparent and a big part of advertising on platforms. Users who watch creator videos are 60% more likely to follow the brands and 50% more likely to click on the ads, according to that TikTok playbook. Additionally, a Sprout Social study found that half of the consumers are making frequent purchases based on influencer content that they're exposed to. Users engage with this type of content because of the authenticity of a real person giving their review and their experience with the brand, while also feeling more native to the platforms. And like I mentioned before, if you need a place to start, there are a lot of offerings through TikTok and Tenuity that can help connect you with creators that are a great fit for your brand. And lastly, to leave you all with 3 main takeaways from today's discussion. So first, to start leaning in and really focusing on the audience first and their first-party data. to access those people. This will help educate all parts of your media planning, execution, and measurement. Next, to be brave and willing to test out new features, whether that be launching a new tactic or trying out a new trend that people are talking about online. Being agile will really help your brand stay relevant, and especially within this industry that's always changing. And lastly, creative is so important to every strategy and testing and will really have a huge influence on performance. So strong video and audio are absolutely essential in your media planning and your strategy to have success and should be a top priority.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian, Lindsay, and Kira, for sharing your expertise, giving us an in-depth look at these next-gen strategies. So I really feel like these insights provided our audience with some really good actual key takeaways today. So let's see what we have from our audience. Thank you to our audience. I feel like you guys have asked some really great questions. Lindsay, people had a lot of questions actually about out of home. So maybe you could elaborate because they really wanted like a clear definition. I know Amanda put one in the chat, but maybe if you could just further expand on what out of home is. And then another person followed up with a question on that and said, but that's for bigger budgets, right? So maybe you can address that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of home advertising, as Amanda put in the chat, Mitch hit the head on it, but it reaches people outside of their homes, right? So it's advertisements in the public, in the wild. It could be billboards, bus shelters. It could be on the side of buildings. And now we're seeing so many new types of formats come out in the out of home space that it's almost like it can even be defined because there's a lot of bespoke and custom opportunities you can have too. So one thing to consider with out of home is to truly see success with it. You should have a holistic media plan that includes multiple types. It can be, more basic, just like screens that are in the obvious places in transit shelters or just roadside billboards on the freeway, things like that. But there's also partners out there from a home perspective that help create like bespoke opportunities. It could be like, showing up in a stadium during a baseball game, or even like creating creative that can have like an AR component to it, or it can be at a music festival or things like that. So it's kind of like if you can dream it, you can likely do it, but there are tiers to this as well. So for the question on, does it require bigger budgets? Not always. And that's actually something that we're starting to see, going back to my point earlier in this presentation about how programmatic opportunities are becoming more and more accessible. We see really cost-efficient CPMs for some standard digital out-of-home units that can be really easily tapped into, and it doesn't break the bank to do. So if you're thinking about more of the really bigger PR moments, splashy executions, and some of those bespoke opportunities, those are going to cost a good chunk of change. But if you're looking to just have a more simple, basic, wide reach plan where you're accessing more of the everyday types of screens that could be, where your users are commuting to work, if they're riding the subway or they're even just driving along the freeway, we do see really efficient price points for a lot of standard units. I don't know, Brian, if you have anything to add there too, if there's any other questions, but happy to elaborate.
No, completely agree. I think the evolution of digital within out of home, and then as programmatic continues to grow, to Lindsay's point, really makes this I think as you called it before, it's having its moment. Out of home is really having its moment, and it is really changing and evolving at this time.
Awesome. Thank you both. I feel like that was a really good, clear definition of what out of home is to explain that to our audience. And you can also, I just want to call attention to the QR codes here on the screen. If you scan these, you can connect with our speakers on LinkedIn and join their networks. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this for you all. So to ensure that you get the most out of your holiday campaign, we're offering you the chance to speak directly with a Tenuity expert. So this is a really great opportunity, and really all you have to do is fill out this form, and our team will do a mini audit and help you determine like what else you can be doing to maximize your holiday ad spend. So I really wouldn't miss out on this opportunity, so make sure you click the link that just popped up in the bottom left. And I'd like to go ahead and congratulate our gift card winner. So we offered this as a promo for tuning in, and we did a random selection during the session. So congratulations to Claire. We will make sure that we reach out tomorrow with an email, and you'll be able to select from gift cards from DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. And then stay tuned for the following sessions today. There are going to be 2 more chances for attendees to win just by continuing to stay live with us. We'll take a quick break, so go ahead, grab some coffee, stretch your legs, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Goal would be to start back at 1:35 p.m. Eastern. So we will see you back here shortly with linking your search strategy with commerce. Thank you all. Appreciate you.